My mic. Okay. Going all the way back to the start of the notes. What was the name of the land bridge between Siberia and Alaska that the original North American settlers crossed between 16,000 and 14,000 BCE? The Bering Strait is what it is now. What was it called back when it was a landmass? A strait is a body of water. Yes, good enough. It's multiple choice. You don't worry about it. Beringia. Wait. Beringia. The short answers, unless you really misspell it and I can't tell what the hell you're talking about, you don't need to worry about spelling. But for most of these, when it's stuff like that, it's multiple choice, so you don't need to worry too much about it. Okay. After settling down in Mexico around 1000 BCE, what form of early agriculture was developed? Horticulture. Horticulture. Wait, was that it? That was it. Okay, that was it for that section. I had a little bit more, I think, originally, but I've updated these tests over time, and I've never actually really went back and... I guess I don't really need to it's fine. I've done this like every semester, and I said, maybe I should update the study guide. It's like, it's not that big a deal. Okay. So the major Native American civilizations, once again, this just is great for multiple choice. Of the three major Central/South American cultures, which built their capital, Tenochtitlan, in the region of modern-day Mexico City? The Aztecs. Just remember the Aztecs were in where modern-day Mexico is. They were literally called the Mexica. They call themselves the Mexica. Aztec was what the Spanish called them. Okay, so which of the three instead settled around the Yucatan Peninsula in what is modern-day Guatemala? They had a sudden decline before slowly re-emerging before the Europeans showed up. The Maya. Yeah, so this group was near the Aztecs, but they were off a little bit further to the east. And finally, down in South America, which culture made their home in the Andes Mountains of modern-day Peru, and its capital, Cuzco, was geographically centered in a fertile mountain valley. The Inca. Very good. And since multiple choice is out of 4, the one that is the incorrect one, if I remember right, I pulled from I think it was the Warhammer Fantasy Total War game there. The weird lizard people had like a South American-based culture. And I was like, that sounds South American enough. I'll throw them in there. So if you recognize that deep cut, good for you. If not, don't worry about it. They're the ones that are the odd ones out. So moving north from Central South America, what was the name of the tribe in North America that famously made their homes out of masonry built into cliffs? The Pueblo. Good. Because we talk about the Pueblo a lot, so I had to at least include them, which, I mean, they're going to come up again. We didn't really get a name for the nomadic tribes in the plains, but we did get the name of the spear-throwing device that the nomadic tribes in the plains used to hunt bison. Atlatl. T-L-A-T-L. Again, just make sure you spell, or not spell that. Just, you don't have to spell it, just know where it is.
Will you ask the questions out loud and we'll just write them down?
No, it's all right here. Yep. Yeah, I just hand them out, and you guys take as much time as you need. You'll have the whole class. And most people are done in like 15 to 20 minutes. So west from here, the tribe that settled along the Pacific coast subsisted largely through fishing and led to a very stable society. Chumash. It's SH. Yeah, the in the southern region of modern excuse me, modern day California. And I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last. Crap. The last one for the native tribes. Heading back east, what's the name of the large collection of tribes along the Mississippi River that built big burial mounds and earthworks? Hopewell, very good. Because remember, again, that wasn't like a one single tribe, but it was like a community of trading partners and whatnot. But yeah, the Hopewell. Very good. Now I do need to put in kind of an extra one here, because this comes before the travels east. What group of Europeans were the first to discover North America? The Norse, yes. Usually takes people a little bit longer to recognize what I'm asking. The Norse. Because remember, we had, not specifically the Vikings, but, they're folks. They found Iceland, and they kept heading east or west, and then they found Greenland, and then they kept heading west, and they found, northern Canada. But they didn't stick around enough to, try to make an empire, so that's why we don't really have much on them. All right. So before we get into, all of this, what was the name of the European who traveled to China in the 1270s, introduced Europe to many exotic ideas and goods? Marco Polo. And he was very important in introducing Europe to all these different ideas. And actually, that's it for that as well. Okay, there's a couple things going on in Portugal. Who led Portugal in its endeavor to find a new route to India now that land routes were untenable? Was that? No, he was not Portuguese. Henry the Navigator, yes. Yeah, Prince Henry, Henry the Navigator. If this was short answer, I would accept either Prince Henry or Henry the Navigator. We don't really have too many royals to talk about. A lot of times when we have royals, they have a moniker on the back of their name, and that's usually important, especially if it's like a number, because good God, there's so many Louis in France. So if this was short answer, you need to be Prince Henry or Henry the Navigator. But again, there's multiple choice, so don't worry about it. Just for future reference. And skipping ahead a little bit, which Portuguese sailor was the one who finally went around Africa and made it all the way to India before returning with exotic and expensive spices? Vasco da Gama. Because remember, Bartolomeu Diaz was the one who realized, oh, hey, we can go around Africa, and then he went back because he only had enough supplies to get there. And then, years later, Vasco da Gama actually packed up and went all the way around Africa and made it to India. All right. And a couple of things before, well, actually, I don't know how much do we have here? Okay, I see where I could have put that in. All right. Who was the Queen of Spain who actually authorized Christopher Columbus's expedition? Isabella. This is an example of a ruler who did not really have a moniker. So you can just put Isabella, that's totally fine. I mean, she probably should have had a moniker. She was a pretty big deal, but she's just Queen Isabella. Couple other things that were going on before you really start getting into like specifics in North America. Let's see. What was the name of the European who modified the Chinese woodblock printing to create Europe's first printing press? Mr. Gutenberg. Johann Gutenberg. It's fine. You're not tested on how you pronounce it. E-R-G, U-R-G, E-R-G. Johann Gutenberg. And I'll also add this in here because it doesn't really have anywhere else I can put it. So do I have? Yeah, I'll put that down here. What was the name of the German theologian who spoke out against the Pope and incidentally started the Protestant Reformation? Martin Luther. I hope I didn't hear what I thought I heard. Okay. Let's see. Yep, that ought to do for that section. Meanwhile, all the various European powers doing what they're doing. Everybody good? Anybody need any clarification or anything repeated? Okay. If you do, just ask. This is review day. Don't want any confusion. Right. The name of the Spanish. Wait. Yeah. Name of the Spanish conquistador. Who, through conquest and disease, conquered the Aztecs? Cortez. Fernando Cortez. Or sometimes it's with a Z. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Again, it's multiple choice. His cousin, who was the conquistador who went on to conquer the Incas. So who was the Spanish conquistador who went to conquer the Inca? That also happened to be Cortez's cousin. Francisco Pizarro. Pizarro. Let's see. See, is this? Oh yeah, this one. I'm just not gonna put that there. This is. And let's see. The guy, I guess he was a conquistador, but he didn't really do much conquistadoring. Searched through Florida for a fountain of youth, only to fight natives, and ended up wandering all the way to Texas. Hernando de Soto. Again, multiple choice. Because if this was short answer, Hernando would not do it. It's clearly a common name. Yeah, it's multiple choice.
So he discovered
No, he wasn't one who discovered Florida. He traveled through Florida and then like up into the Carolinas and then got in a fight with some natives and then like decided to just keep heading west until they got to Texas and he died and then like his second in command just decided we're leaving.
That was the person who had went through the desert and he was like walking on it.
No, that was a guy before him. The Soto was a little bit later. Yeah, I skipped the guy that went up and harassed the Pueblo. All right. Let's see, was there another? I'll put that in a little bit later. All right. Meanwhile, in France, what was the name of the French explorer who sailed into the Gulf of St. Lawrence and deep into Canada? Jacques Cartier. If it's French, you just don't pronounce most of it. That's how I reason it. Just ignore half of the word. Yeah. Mr. Cartier, he was the first, like, I mean, they did, like most Europeans, hire, like, an Italian to do the first little bit of exploring, and then he traveled deep into Canada. Speaking of the French, let me make sure here. That's a little bit later. Okay. What was the biggest goal for France in North America let me try that again. What was the biggest goal for France when it came to North American exploration? The fur trade, yes. Trade, actually I'll go ahead and just put trade, but specifically furs. Because, the Spanish came over and they were just like stealing gold, and the English were largely, creating settlements and plantations, while for the French, it was largely the fur trade.
You said this was for like the European expedition?
What's that? This is for France specifically. Yeah. Yeah, because each major empire had different reasons, or at least different goals for their empire in America. Okay. I think that's it for France for right now. On to England. I guess I'll just go ahead and put it down here so we'll see it easier. I'm going all the way back to 1497. Who sailed for the English in 1497 despite being from Genoa to chart eastern Canada? John Cabot. Or Caboto, to use his actual, Genoan name, but it's going to be anglicized because that's what English do. They take stuff and make it boring. All right. I'm mostly referring to their food there. We're going to take over the world because spices and then not use it. We're just going to boil the hell out of everything. All right. What Englishman was most fervent about establishing a colony in Virginia in the 1500s, only to have the colony fail once and entirely disappear the second time? Walter Raleigh. From which we get North Carolina's capital. And to move on over here, what was the name of the colony that he was trying to found? Roanoke. Actually, make sure I'm spelling that right. Yeah. Because again, there were some dudes before him that was just sort of mentioned, but the colonies they tried to found weren't even mentioned, so we're going to skip them entirely. They don't count. They don't count for the sake of what we're doing. Okay, what else do we have? Actually, that's it for that. I think that's it for that section. Cool. All right. Oh, no, that will be later. Okay. Great. On to the first big things in each colony. For some reason, I completely skipped St. Augustine, so we don't need that one, I guess. Sorry, Spain. Then again, we are going to go into what happened to Spain around this time, which I guess was why I forgot about St. Augustine. So St. Augustine doesn't count. Which is terrible, considering it is the oldest European settlement in North America. Let me make sure. Okay. Here we are. All right. First permanent settlements. What was the name of the French explorer who founded the first permanent French settlement of Quebec? Because we had a dude who tried it before. I told y'all don't worry about him. Who actually ended up settling and permanently establishing Quebec? Champlain, yes. Samuel de Champlain. Bless you. Obviously, I'm going to assume you guys will get this one. What was the first permanent settlement in North America set up by England? Jamestown. I was expecting more people to speak up than that, but okay. What's up?
If we go back up to the third section, right after England, we have something called early explorers for each.
Yeah, I put those in with their own countries. Yeah, I realized that was redundant, so I erased it. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, because we've got John Cabot here, we've got Walter Raleigh, we've got Jacques Cartier, we've got all of these dudes. Yeah, again, I've slightly edited the test over time, and I haven't completely gone back and edited the study guide, because it's been mostly cleaning it up as opposed to like adding big chunks of stuff. But yeah, so that part you don't have to worry about, because it's all right here. Okay, so we talked about what France was doing in North America. Wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we are. What was the name of the English settler who pushed the Virginia colony towards sustainable cash crops? Because again, there wasn't gold to steal, and there wasn't quite as many. I was going to say John's another common name. Yes, John Rolfe. There's an O in there. There. John was apparently as common in England as Hernando was in Spain. So, specifically, what cash crops did they grow in Virginia? Tobacco. All right. See what else we've got. More England stuff. All right, cool. Acquisitions. I need to quit grabbing that. That one's already done. Where is it at? From what country did England acquire the land which will become New York? The Dutch or the Netherlands, either one. Dutch. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute too. We don't really need economic incentives either. I guess I would put this under acquisitions. It certainly was an acquisition in power. Who ruled England during the disastrous failure of the Spanish Armada? Elizabeth I. And I guess one more under this section before we move into the economic stuff. What group of natives in Western North America did the Spanish missionaries actually try to convert, which typically only led to resistance? The Pueblo again. Told you guys we'd see them. I can't. E-U-P-L-O. What? I just. U-E. Okay. It's like I say, I just spelled it. Why am I not? Alright. Then again, the Spanish Armada could also be economic changes, because who boy. Alright. So we already talked about tobacco. What country brought the first shipload of African-bound laborers to North America? Who? Which country was running the ships that brought the first? Wasn't the English. The Dutch. Again. Because remember, they're like the big shipping guys. Especially once they lost New Netherlands, which would be New York. They were really just doing a lot of shipping, moving stuff back and forth. All right. So we've discussed tobacco. Okay. But once prices fell, what important crop was grown in the West Indies? Sugar cane. Or just sugar is fine. But sugar cane's... What is happening with this keyboard? My keyboard's haunted. Okay. I think that might be it for that. Well, no, that's labor. No, the labor comes later. Okay, so this will go here. With the economic stuff, I guess this would probably maybe be in incentives, but again, we're just going to make it more concise. Who led a rebellion against the governor of Virginia over the treatment of indentured servants? Bacon. I've got spell it right? Nathaniel Bacon. Nathaniel Bacon. Bacon's Rebellion. He was the guy that led frontiersmen in a rebellion against the governor of Virginia over the treatment of indentured servants. This was like a clash rebellion. What's up?
I'm guessing you want us to delete the economic incentives.
Yeah, I just bundled that into the changes. I need to fix this before next semester or next year, but I'll forget to. Because once we're done with class today, I've got to do another class, and by the time I'm done with that class, I'll have forgotten that I needed to change things. All right. So, I think that's it for that for the moment. All right. So, bunch of colonies being set up. Let's see. Who founded Maryland as a haven for Catholics persecuted in England? Charles Calvert. Yeah, he was allowed to come over and kind of do his own thing. Well, yeah. Charles II had to repay debts, gave land to the son of his friend Admiral Sir William Penn. What was this land named? Pennsylvania, because, you know, it's the Penns guy. That's why L. Which at least wasn't just named New wherever we came from. All right. Some more colonies. Yeah. What colony did the Pilgrims create far north of Virginia? Plymouth. I mean, that's how it's spelled. Okay. The Puritans showed up and set up what town? Boston. The Puritans didn't get along with everybody, and we had someone who was exiled from Salem who wound up founding Rhode Island, which technically founded Providence, but it became Rhode Island, so I'm going to not be too pedantic about that. Who was exiled from Salem and wound up founding Rhode Island? Roger Williams. And as pretty sure I mentioned to you guys, while I was doing grad school in Rhode Island, like everything was named after Roger Williams. There was like 12 Roger Williams state libraries, like in Providence alone. It was ridiculous. The Roger Williams State Bridge is like, but there's like 4 of them. I don't get it. All right. So we've got some wars happening. Let's see. Did we have? Make sure I'm not skipping anything. Cool. England had a civil war. Who fought and won against the English king on the side of the parliamentarians? So who was running the... Yeah. Who was leading the parliamentarians, I should say? And ended up ruling England for a little while as a sort of military dictator. And did some genocides against the Irish that is like coded into our DNA. He was also a Puritan, which was a big deal for the Puritans. Bless you. Okay. What's his last name? Because that's also a common name. There were several kings. In fact, I think the king they were fighting against was named Charles. So, yeah. He fought against the king on the side of the parliamentarians. Actually, no, this wasn't a Charles. I was looking at the wrong part. So no. Yeah, they put Charles first of the axe. I mean, I can't think of anything beyond. He ruled. He led the parliamentarians. He actually knew how to fight. He was a military dictator. He, like, burned down entire Irish cities and sent them to the west. And then after he died, his son tried to take over, and Parliament's like, nah, you suck at your job. And they brought the king's son back. No, it was not. Hmm? No. No, he's later, because he's actually a royal.
Wait, what was the question?
This is England's civil war. Who fought against the English king on the side of the parliamentarians? Yes, Oliver Cromwell. Now, I'm skipping over a lot of back and forth because there's a lot of back and forth in English royalty. But we eventually get the Glorious Revolution, at which point, who comes to power? Yes, that's William of Orange and Mary, who technically was the one who had the line to the throne. But William of Orange was the king. But technically, they ruled as like co-monarchs, so it's not like he had more power than her, but he's the one that everybody really loved. So he's the one in the multiple choice. Yeah, William Orange came over from the Netherlands and agreed to like rule as a constitutional monarch, which again was a huge deal for England. Meanwhile, over in North America, we had our own several wars happening. However, I'm going to choose just one. What was a large native uprising in the Carolina colonies, which only turned around for the English after the Cherokee natives switched sides? Because I feel like if it was as bad as they said it was, but they didn't talk about it nearly as long as the one that happened in the north, we're going to talk about the one that happened here in the south. Because there were two major native revolts that we talked about. There was one in the north and one in the south, and this is the one in the south. Yeah, the Yamasee War. Stono is a different thing. Yamasee War. Because it's not French. They use all their letters. Okay. All right. So let's move on to final political changes or economic changes. All right. What was the term for... Try that again. What was the term for a country, rather, using tariffs to have more exports than imports? Mercantilism. Wow. Why can't I spell today? I mean, granted, I've got the keyboard like at a wonky angle, so my fingers are just not working. Okay. How did most colonists and people in general respond to mercantilism? Smuggling. Straight up smuggling. It's like, oh, you want us to pay extra to come to the port? What if we just went and got it ourselves? They had to pay gas money and they just took a ship. All right. Not to say taking a ship was free. You still had to, supplies and whatnot. So, natives. Did I actually already go? That probably should have been. Yeah, that was the Embassy War. Whoopsie doodle. Gonna go ahead and move that on down. I was wondering, it's like, but I didn't mention the wars in North America. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, okay. Embassy War is down here. Sorry. The Yamasee War is down here with the native coercion and resistance. I had it up here with wars because in the book, all the wars were in the same section. So on the test, it's chronological as the notes go. So they're all together. And I thought that maybe that was how I had it together here. But for some reason, I made the study guide more thematic, which makes sense when you're looking at the study guide. But when I'm trying to go from the actual test to the study guide, it gets a little confusing. So yeah, the Yamasee War actually goes down here. Again, not that it really matters. It's all on the test. So yeah, that's that. What was the name of the transatlantic portion of a slave ship's journey during which many enslaved people died due to starvation, disease, or simply mistreatment? Middle Passage. Yes, Frederick Douglass wrote a very powerful autobiography of his time as a slave, and the description of the Middle Passage is really gruesome, to say the least. All right. What was the largest and most significant slave revolt within North America? Say that again. Stoner Rebellion. Yes. All right. This was another one that I actually almost gave us early because it kind of went with other things, but don't worry about it. The term for people who were not quite indentured servants, as they could live with their families but still work to pay off their passage after arriving in North America. Redemptioners. Not redeemers. That's a completely different group. And then Ben Franklin, because he's always up to shenanigans. Where did Ben Franklin work as an apprentice? Brothers, what? Print shop. Remember, Ben Franklin's known for always having something to say. And in the 16 to 1700s, that usually meant writing things down. So him working at a print shop just makes sense, is the best way I can put that. One more thing, which isn't really on any of this, but I had it at the very end of the test because I mentioned it like 3 times in the notes at this point. What was South Carolina originally a colony of? Barbados. Thank you. All right. That's the test. That's genuinely the test. You'll just come in here Monday, and unless you guys have any pressing concerns, I'll hand the tests out, and it's all right here on the paper. You just You got the multiple choice, a couple of short answers, which again are usually like a word, maybe two, and that's it. There's extra credit is the word that completely left my brain. There's extra credit options, not just in the actual extra credit section at the very end, which is completely separately marked that says, hey, here's extra credit. But in the short answers, if there's more information that can be given besides just the answer, you'll get some extra points there too. So you'll know it when you see it. All right, any questions, or are we good to go? You guys set? All right, have a good one then. And for you online folks, I'll be posting the test on Monday as well, so be ready for that.